Try to take 2 breaks today also. Happy Rashee Rice Week! Historically known as Raider Week, we're undergoing a little bit of a rebranding, as the Las Vegas Raiders deserve your respect as much as any NFL team deserves your respect in the big 2025. I just watched Joe Flacco's Cincinnati Bengals beat Aaron Rodgers' Pittsburgh Steelers while we're thinking about how weird all of that is. Anything can happen. Anything can happen in this edition of Everything Else with Joshua Brisco. I just clicked over to see if any new comments were popping up as we were beginning today's show. Yes, Jason in the chat. We will be talking about Pokemon today. Don't you ever question if we're going to talk about Pokemon. I kind of like hearing the music again, actually. Let's loop that baby. Oh, okay, that's all right. I'm Joshua Brisco. Tucker D. Franklin's currently punching air. Look, man, producing anything ever is a challenge in its own right. Just like apparently producing functional football is its own right. I didn't put a graphic down for this. I'm not going to talk about it for more than 30 seconds. But if you can watch Aaron Rodgers versus Joe Flacco go like it did on Thursday Night Football last night, and you can still wake up today and tell me you have 100% confidence that you know how the NFL works, then you're a better watcher than me, a better voyeur than me. Because this entire league is in the middle of a cyclone right now, and I kind of love it. I'll 100% love it if the Chiefs can transcend it, and they have a chance to do that against the Raiders at noon on Sunday. We'll get into some of the specifics of Raider Week and where this feels like it could be a trap game or could be a blowout. I'll let you pick. There's a poll question for you also, Tucker. I know you're already doing plenty. But what's more likely here, blowout or trap game? That doesn't mean win or loss. What's more likely, though? The Chiefs win this thing by 14, 17, 21 points, or we are sweating in the last couple minutes of the fourth quarter. I don't know. I think those chances are probably pretty even, because it's really hard to win a blowout game in the NFL right now, and it's really hard to believe that a team's going to come into your house and just roll over. And I don't think the Raiders are going to do that. I'm getting ahead to Raider Week because I do want to begin with what's been the story of the week. Rashee Rice. As I did see Renee said earlier, it's Ricemas Eve. I guess it might be 2 days before Ricemas now, and tomorrow's Ricemas Eve. In the Christmas contingency, today's my birthday. Not really. My birthday's 2 days before Christmas. This is 2 days before Ricemas. Cause for celebration nonetheless. I found it interesting, in fact, during, thank you, Jared, in the chat. Oh, look, it's one part of the law firm of high volume, high blood sugar, and high testosterone. If you didn't listen to yesterday's Only Weird Games, that's now how we're referring to Nate Taylor, myself, and Seth Kaiser, respectively. No, if, again, maybe you're not a Weird Games loyalist, no, it's not an accident that Seth is now high testosterone. We believe all naturally. No performance. Look, I guess I should say, we haven't tested him, but he's out here like dropping pounds, getting shredded, and I don't know, owning betas. Anyway, my blood sugar is right where it ought to be. I was smashing some brunch charcuterie before the show here because I practice what I preach, as I preached many episodes ago. So Steven in the chat asks the question that I kind of wanted to get to. Does Rice get as many targets as Jamar Chase did yesterday? No, because that would be cruel and unusual. That would be a level of, hey, welcome back, Rashee. I want you to be, like, mad at us by the end of the game because of what we're feeding you here. I don't know if you have it, Tucker. If not, if you could check for me real quick what Chase's final target count was. I believe it was in the 20s. I think it was like 16 for 21 or something. 23 targets. Thank you, Scott. Somebody tweeted that Jamar Chase put up a Justin Fields stat line being like 16 for 23 for 125 yards and a touchdown or whatever it was. That was one of the funniest, meanest things I've seen this football season. I digress. I don't think we're going to get that volume for Rashee Rice on Sunday, but I do think there's going to be plenty of going his way. And I think that makes sense. I think that's probably the best case for everybody here. Get him involved in a serious way. Get him involved 70% as much as you'd like him to be involved on a regular basis. Because the funny thing, is obviously the way that his timeline has gone here. He misses basically all of last season with the knee injury. And by the way, just as we're kind of going back through these notes this week, his ACL was reportedly not actually torn. It was still, of course, a season-ending knee injury, and they had to go in there and handle some of the other ligaments and everything. But just something that's noteworthy. Rashee Rice with a season-ending injury and this 6-game suspension. Don't forget how good he was looking in training camp and in the preseason. I do think, as we were talking about weeks and weeks ago, like, well, where would be the best time for Rashee Rice to be suspended? Would you rather have him for the first 6 weeks, have him miss the middle 6? The silver lining of this one is, hey, man, you get to ramp up in camp in preseason, and then you're going to have 6 more weeks to make sure your knee is good, to make sure you're in football shape, to make sure you really trust that as much as you can. So Rashee Rice, even though the last time we saw him, I get the preseason. Last time we saw him in a real game, he was being carted back to the locker room. He's going to have the healthiest feet of anybody on the field on Sunday. He should have the least wear and tear, especially when you're thinking about like Xavier Worthy dealing with his ankle. So I do think that we're going to get a heavy dose of Rashee Rice. I don't think it needs to be an overwhelming one, but if he doesn't have 4 or 5 catches, I'd be surprised. And there aren't a lot of guys on this team right now where you can say, I'd be surprised if they didn't have 4 or 5 catches. because they have spread the ball around so well in his absence. But I think that's partially been by necessity, and that's partially been because it's how they genuinely want to operate. Juju Smith-Schuster is going to have a role on this offense. Obviously, Xavier Worthy will. Hollywood Brown's still going to have a role. I think Juju and Hollywood are going to have some of their workload taken from what Rashee Rice is going to do. They're going to be in the mix. And I think that's going to end up, those rising tides, as they say, should lift all of those boats. You give them 6, 7, 8 targets, 4, 5, 6 catches, let him get some yak under his belt and get a little bit involved here in this game, and let that ramp up, and then you hope he's hitting full speed by Buffalo. I think that's where I'm at now. Now, I did think it was interesting during Weird Games yesterday. There were, 1 or 2 people in the chat, and I think it was a fine amount of skepticism. 1 or 2 people in the chat saying, I'm just not quite ready to put Pro Bowl, All-Pro expectations on Rashee Rice in his first game back. And really, even, the follow-up, and this one I just talked about on 96.5 with Cody and Gold just about an hour ago, is it a little bit early to be putting Rashee Rice in this, unquestioned top 10, top 15, top 20 even, wide receiver conversation about where he fits in the NFL? I think that is a totally reasonable, totally intellectually honest way of looking at Rashee Rice right now. To say, hey, okay, we've seen some really good stuff, but can we see it for a full year or even half a year? Now, in his rookie season into the playoffs, we did see about half a season of Rashee Rice getting into that role, but it was still his ascension that way. And then through 3 games, I think you saw, oh, well, this is the Rashee Rice plan for 2024, and then obviously his knee. The plan is finally available to execute now. I know everybody's mentioned this, but it's still crazy to think about how Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, and Rashee Rice have never played a real football game together. That was plan A, to even begin to slide Travis Kelce into a less focal point role, still a focal point, but just to be able to take a little bit off his shoulders, or to be able to go to somebody else when Travis Kelce's getting all the attention. I understand, I'm not saying that Rashee Rice is a top 5 NFL wide receiver. I think top 10 is probably pretty generous because, man, there are 15 aliens playing in this sport right now. And if you wanted to take either side, I'm just going to pull some names, and maybe some of these will be wrong, but I don't know. If you wanted to take either side of Amon-Ra St. Brown and Rashee Rice, cool, man. I get it. The Lions would probably keep Amon-Ra. The Chiefs probably want to hold on to Rashee Rice. Totally, totally reasonable. You're Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Puka Nacua. You have a guy like JSN kind of climbing top 10, top 9, 8, 5. You're going to see those jumps come, and then, Devontae Adams gets older and older, but he's still Devontae Adams. So I don't want to get caught up in the, what top X is Rashee Rice in the modern NFL, because it is an unbelievable time for NFL wide receivers, and it has been over these last several years. What I do think is not overstated is what he means for this offense as soon as Sunday. Maybe we won't see the real benefit of it until later down the run. Maybe we won't see the real benefit of it in its entirety until closer to the playoffs. I really do think that Buffalo game, I keep circling more and more now every time that when the Chiefs win or the Bills lose, I circle that game again. It's got a few circles around it now. If you told me that Rashee Rice was going to have 150 yards against Buffalo in a couple of weeks, I wouldn't be able to poo-poo you on that. Or it's like, hey man, okay, so the Bills safeties are in trouble. I know now we're skipping 2 games ahead. Fantastic. The Bills safeties are a mess. Tyquan Thornton and Xavier Worthy are stressing them out deep all game. And so it's just Rice for 8, Rice for 12, Rice for 15, Rice for 7. Just boom, 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 boom. I think that's in the playbook, and now it's in the playbook for the Chiefs, period. Juju Smith-Schuster deserves all the love he's getting. We were texting in this in one of the group chats where the highlight that the Chiefs tweeted out of Hollywood's touchdown, where Hollywood asked Juju what route he has in this concept, and Juju tells him, and then 5 seconds later, Hollywood scores a touchdown. Juju has an important role in this offense. Hollywood Brown too. But neither of them are capable of doing at their best the things that Rashee Rice is capable of doing at his best. He is a menace with the football in his hand. Put the football in his hands. It's that simple on some level here. If you have any hesitance about how much Rice moves the needle, I will ask you how much Xavier Worthy's absence hurt them early in the season, and then how much better the offense moved and breathed when Worthy came back. I think we're going to see something similar. There is an aspect of, like, you need to have enough guys who can take over a game for a defense to respect you to make everybody else's life easier, but I think that compounds also. I think having Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice and what I will now refer to, I guess, as everybody else, even though those guys are worth having their names mentioned, Juju, Hollywood, Thornton, Jalen Royals is just on a redshirt program now, I think, because there's depth ahead of him. Maybe he gets involved later in the year, but there's no urgency there whatsoever for him. Take your time, man. We're good. It's a good place to be. I think the only weird thing is something that's now going along in the chat. What about this Raiders game, and what does it being a trap game even look like? So here's where I'm at on one of the less discussed Raider weeks I can remember. For recent years now, the Chiefs have been good and the Raiders have not been. That takes a little bit of the air out of the rivalry. And I think the history matters so much that this game, if you're at Arrowhead on Sunday, it's going to feel like Chiefs-Raiders. I'm going to make it feel like Chiefs-Raiders in the pregame show. Like I really do. I love this rivalry because I respect this rivalry and the history of it. But these two teams are going in two different directions. Or at least the Raiders might be going in the right direction again, but if so, it's been a minute. And they're not been covering themselves in glory for these first few weeks. So I'm hesitant to call anything a legitimate trap game where you're looking ahead to what's next. Maybe you're so satisfied with what you did last week that you just kind of gloss over, well, we got the Raiders at home at noon. I can give 70% in practice this week and we'll be fine. I can do 70% of the film work I would usually do and we'll be fine. I just got to say that with the way the Chiefs are wired, with how specifically this season has begun, and knowing who's in charge in that building, both the coaches and the player leaders in that group, I just don't think you can, and the way the NFL is operating right now, I don't think you can just gloss this game over and assume that you are set for a free win. There aren't free wins in the NFL as currently constituted. It's just not really an option. Now, it is interesting to me that I feel like I have been quite wrong about how the Raiders have started this season, because I really thought there was just an inherent value to having Pete Carroll and Geno Smith. And Geno Smith has been a turnover machine, and some bad ones, not desperation. Maybe he's pressing, maybe the injuries that we'll talk about here. Maybe it's the offensive line. I don't know. I don't want to erase what Geno Smith did in Seattle. I don't think it's fair to go, oh, that's the outlier here. That was fake. Everything else is real Geno. What he was doing in Seattle was unbelievable. It's why I thought this move made sense for the Raiders. I didn't like the Seahawks letting Geno go, even for a pick, and then going to Sam Darnold, because I thought Sam Darnold was more smoke and mirrors in Minnesota. Now, Sam Darnold is doing fantastic stuff in Seattle, and Geno is a mess in Vegas. Maybe I just got it wrong. Maybe they're going to eventually figure it out. Maybe, I don't know. But with this version of the Raiders, if I was going to build you the case for like, hey, here's why you can't overlook this game. Here's why it can't be a trap game. Here's how the Raiders can win this thing. Step one would be Brock Bowers. And step 2 or 3 would be Jacoby Myers, tight end and wide receiver respectively. Neither of them have practiced this week. Brock Bowers hasn't played since September 28th when they played the Bears. He's got a knee. Jacoby Myers has a knee, toe, and some trade rumors. I don't know how the Raiders will handle if Myers can practice a little bit today, or even if he can't and he does warm-ups on game day. Maybe there'll be game time decisions. Maybe Bowers will be too. I don't know. But you're telling me that two of your top 3 weapons on offense are not going to practice the week before you play the Chiefs. Maybe they'll end up being game time decisions. That's how you attack a defense, with your playmakers. And the Raiders are down 2 of their top 3. The other guy, of course, is rookie running back Ashton Jeanty. Fabulous runner. Started a little bit slow, had a little bit of social media lukewarmness on him through the first couple weeks. He's been very good. He is very good. He will continue to be very good. No real reason to question any of that. What's interesting, though, is that the Raiders' offense, unless Geno's throwing the ball and maybe turning it over, the Raiders' offense, in terms of the star power, becomes quite one-dimensional, and their offensive line is not good. But a one-dimensional run-first Raiders offense doesn't scare me at all. The hesitance is just because I really do believe what I'm saying about how it's 2025 and everybody's the Chargers. I think we'll do our one worry, one wish with Tucker in a minute. But I think there is a 10% chance that Geno Smith just goes out of body experience and just hums through this game and they go, oh, holy bleep, Geno's back. There's a chance of that. But the Chiefs secondary's gotten a ton of credit, rightfully so. The Chiefs linebackers have gotten a lot of credit, and they'll be involved in what I'm about to mention here, rightfully so. The Chiefs pass rush has been looked down upon, rightfully so. But they've been great against starring running backs from their opposition so far this year. I finally looked it up because I've been saying this all week, going, well, I know they've been good against these guys. Where do the stat lines end up? Here's the number 1 running back every week this season who the Chiefs have faced, plus I'll give you 2 last week because the Lions have 2 starting caliber guys. Omarion Hampton, 15 carries for 48 yards in week 1. Saquon Barkley, 22 carries for 88. 4 yards per carry there, not a terrible number. A lot of touches, no big game-breaking explosives. Cam Skattebo, week 3, 10 for 60. 6 yards per carry. He's the guy who's gotten it done. Derrick Henry, 8 for 42. Travis Etienne, 12 for 49. Jahmyr Gibbs, 17 for 65. David Montgomery, 4 for 24. Now, some of those guys were also weapons in the passing game. Jeanty should certainly be able to catch a few passes in this one. But the Chiefs have been excellent at not allowing the big plays on the ground. The guy who did, Justice Hill, when that game was over against the Ravens. 71 yards, I think. Now, the quarterbacks on the move have killed the Chiefs multiple times. Twice at least to losses. As you include Hurts in that if you want, but specifically not being ready for what Justin Herbert and Trevor Lawrence did, killed him in those games. But in terms of handing the ball off to your number 1 running backs who have legitimate number 1 running back skill sets, the Chiefs have not played a poor starting running back yet this season, and they've handled all of them very, very well. So we'll do our one worry, one wish after the break, but I'll tell you, my worry isn't that Ashton Jeanty has 25 carries for 120 yards or something. I just don't think, and frankly, I guess if you can just say, hey, you can have 20 carries for 80 like Saquon did, cool. 4 yards a pop. You wait for Geno to make a couple of mistakes. You let the offense lean on the Raiders' defense here. Let Rashee Rice set the tempo. It doesn't guarantee you anything, but this is a game the Chiefs should win, and I hope it's a game they control. I'm not wishing that it's a game they control because that would be my wish, and I'm not going to tell you what that is until after this timeout.
Looking to remodel your home and in search of a top-quality company to do the job? Contact Elenco. Since 1986, Elenco has been the remodeler of choice for customers throughout Kansas and Missouri. As a family-owned and operated business, Elenco provides customers top-quality products and unbeatable service straight from their family to yours. From windows and doors to siding, insulation, and bathroom renovations, there's no need that Elenco can't meet and exceed. Elenco only installs products that have proven track records of success, such as the Kohler Luckstone shower system. Elenco's installers are factory-trained professionals who know how to get the job done, not only quickly, but flawlessly. Whether you're located in Kansas City, Topeka, Wichita, or a rural town in northeastern Kansas or western Missouri, Elenco will come to you. Go to elencohome.com for more information. That's A-L-E-N-C-O home.com. Again, elencohome.com for more information and contact them about all your home improvement needs.
Chiefs Kingdom, I have got a question for you. What is your favorite touchdown? Well, for me, I can confidently say that my favorite touchdown, it's the next one, because with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, every touchdown could bring you closer to cashing in. From the first touchdown score to anytime touchdown props or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. From spreads to money lines, same-game parlays, regular parlays, you want it, DraftKings has got it. Here's the best part. Bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets instantly. I use DraftKings Sportsbook, and you should too. Your team hitting pay dirt pays out to you. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code KCSN. That's code KCSN to turn $5 into $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, fees may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bet must win to receive reward. Minimum minus 500 odds required. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
Before we get to our a few comments here. Another benefit of just taking a break during the live shows, I can look at the comments and let my brain just sort of follow one thing at a time, which is such a rare luxury that I very rarely do, even in my day-to-day life. Rich says, trap in a rivalry game is a lack of preparation and seriousness. At 3-3, I don't see it happening. Rich, I'm with you. I think that's a good way of framing that. Where, look, if you're 5-1, 6-0, you're alone at the top of the division or the AFC, you end up having a little wiggle room. The Chiefs don't have wiggle room. They got to be locked in here. Paul says, I feel bad for Tyquan Thornton. That's how it goes, though. I think I'll also add, Paul, the reason I wanted to highlight this one, Matt Nagy called him out, like shouted him out, I guess. Positive, not negative tone. He shouted him out in his presser yesterday and noted, like, look, Tyquan got no catches last week, and he's been no targets last week, and he's been an important part of the team. So I do just think that that's going to be the way this goes. And we saw early on, Thornton was able to step in for Worthy and have a couple of instances where we talked about the relief pitcher thing, where you just call his number in the fourth quarter. If he's been cold all day, you have to expect that he's ready for it. Jackie says, what about Max Crosby? A great point. Somebody who I have made a lot of space for in the Chiefs Radio Network pregame show planning I've done, but I didn't mention in the first segment here. Total monster. A relentless beast. George Karlaftis plus like some super soldier serum or something. I don't know. Just an absolute menace, and I love watching him play football against teams who aren't the Chiefs. Certainly a threat. You got to keep in mind. He has to take over for this game to go in a good way for the Raiders, I think. Johnny asks, do we see a 40 burger? I'm not predicting a 40 burger, I don't think. The Chiefs might. There's a world where it's 27-10 in the third quarter, and then they just hand it off 20 times. If they do have that kind of lead. And then a couple questions about Josh Simmons. I'll just say that Nate talked about him on Only Weird Games yesterday. I got nothing new for you there. He hasn't practiced this week. it's Jalen Moore time again, unless something really bizarre, something else bizarre happens, I suppose. Seems very, very likely. We're getting another week of Jalen Moore. And Tucker, I guess I'll mention this to you because it's something that I was just talking about off air with somebody. It is a different game for Jalen Moore, where I talked about him on Monday. I've talked about him all week, how impressed I am with how he's handled his last 6 or 7 months with the Chiefs. Has to be some disappointment, but he was ready for his number to be called on Sunday against the Lions. But now Max Crosby has spent all week preparing, I'm sure, for Jalen Moore. And that's different than Aiden Hutchinson preparing for Josh Simmons all week and then getting there to game day. So what's fair to expect there in the second start for Jalen Moore?
Yeah, I think that for Jalen Moore, you have me thinking about if Josh Simmons does come back. I still don't think he does. At this point, I don't think he is thrown in there because it is just unfair to Jalen Moore for kind of him to take all those first-team reps and everything like that, for him not to play. The thing that helps out Jalen Moore is Max Crosby's not a guy that flips sides a whole lot. I mean, he will. He's not afraid to, right? But he usually does stay on the right side of the offensive line, so it is probably going to be heavy Jawan Taylor. And here, worst case,
played him a lot.
Yeah, like worst case scenario is like they help with Jalen Moore. They didn't help a whole lot with Jalen Moore last week, which I mean, they didn't have to. I thought Jalen Moore did fine. He did very reasonably. He did very admirably is the word that I was looking for there in his quest to fill in. So I do think it's for Jalen Moore. I'm not worried. I'm not too worried about it. Malcolm Kuntz hasn't been the same guy that he has been the past couple of years before they paid him really. So it's one of those things that I feel good about. If Max Crosby is the only guy that you got to cover, I know that he's probably preparing for Jawan Taylor or Jalen Moore. You're also going to have something because you've been preparing all week for Max Crosby to be legitimately the only guy to cause you any problems on that defense because they have the shell of Devin White out there. They have the shell of Jamal Adams out there. So, I mean, they just have a who's who of the 2018 All-Stars, right. I think. But they have a bunch of older guys out there. I know that there is some frustration from some people about the Joshua Simmons thing. There's a lot that we don't know, and I think I thought you guys did a really good job yesterday, kind of Josh, and you talking about this too on Only We're Games of just like people with a lack of information they're trying so hard to fill in gaps that don't really need filled in, and I know that there's some frustration with a lack of transparency, and maybe this is an event that doesn't need transparency. This is an event that should not be as transparent.
I'll also just add, this might be a little bit of like mixing some like on record, off record. This is not a situation where all of us know what's happening and like, well, as long as we just don't let it out publicly. Like I am not a reporter. I am not a journalist. I have done reporting. I will ask questions at press conferences and stuff, but I'm not a fact finder in that way. Nate is. I know, by the way, that Nate has been trying to get to the bottom of some of these things. That there's just a lot going on, as Nate has mentioned there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I empathize with fans who are seeing the gaps, and like you just said, Tucker, you really want to fill in those gaps. If you've got a puzzle that's missing 15 pieces, you can't help but think, well, I wonder what piece goes here and here and here and here. And I honestly, my truest advice to everybody is, I think if you can just be excited that Jalen Moore is on this football team this week, we'll see if there's anything new next week. Maybe there will be, maybe there won't be. I truly have no idea. I'm not saying there's not going to be news next week. I just think right now, you're right, Tucker. If Josh Simmons teleported back in time for practice today, you've had Jalen Moore preparing as the starter, and they're in the game plan and everything. Mm-hmm. The Chiefs don't have guys who can't physically practice Wednesday, Thursday. If you're limited on Friday, you're usually not going to play unless you're one of the real top guys, and that's even being around meetings and stuff, in my understanding. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's safe to assume we're not seeing Josh Simmons on Sunday. And again, you can use your brain power and your free time on whatever you want. But I'm telling you this because I've kind of come to this conclusion myself. I'm not going to be the one who solves it, right? Yeah. I'm not going to have a guess so good that somebody in the process says, okay, fine, here's what's happening. And it is odd that there is such secrecy around a big thing. That makes me assume that there's some sort of reason for it.
Yep.
And I just have to I have to believe what I'm telling you now, because I'm in a very similar boat. I think you just let it be for the time being. You appreciate that Jalen Moore is on this team, and this is not fair at all, but like, you're glad that you're not talking about how Wanya Morris is going to get up to speed here. And I kind of like Wanya Morris, and I think Wanya Morris can start a game or two for you. If Juwan Taylor goes down and Wanya Morris is the right tackle for the second half of the game on Sunday, I think the O-line will be okay. But it ends up being perhaps a unwanted payoff of what ended up being the Jalen Moore insurance program that he's cashing out on here now. So, yeah, we have to mention it, but that's all we got.
Right. So there's nothing new. And I want to bring up this comment here from Rich Cooper. He says, I get the frustration, but let's give them the benefit of the doubt. What purpose does this serve or gain the team? I think that's a great point. Like, you got to give them the benefit of the doubt of a team that just did everything they could for Chris Jones, or literally the week before, for what they're doing for a player. This probably is they're doing everything they can for the player in this situation as well. Even though the public doesn't know, give them the benefit of the doubt. They probably are benefiting the player by not talking about it or keeping it all quiet. So I do think give them the benefit of the doubt. I know it's upsetting. I know that people think it's a huge story, right? But we can only do so much with what we have. And from what it sounds like, it's not a great thing because the team is reacting this way. So rather than being upset about the player or anything that's going on with how the team's handling it, I just think that you just have to take things as they come here.
Yep. Speaking of keeping things quiet, your mic started doing the thing again mid-answer.
I did hear
there.
it. Yeah, hang on.
Okay, I don't know. And see now, perfect silence. Sometimes Tucker's just got, look, you guys know Tucker D. Franklin. Sometimes he's got to jack out and jack in again. And that's what he's doing. He's just, if you're listening only right now, you can rest well knowing that Tucker is he's just jacking in.
That stop it?
It sounds great now.
That's crazy.
I mean, the things that can fix a technical difficulty. Let's do one worry, one wish here, Tucker.
Let's do it.
My worry, and we got into the habit of this with weird games over the years, where like against teams that were just less interesting or less high ranking, we would talk about them less and less and less, and then the Chiefs would lose, and then we would go, damn, I can't believe we did it again. I am not saying that it would take a miracle for the Raiders to win this football game.
Yeah.
But my worry is that football happens. Everything is in the realm of possibility. Everything is within the margin for error. There is just every chance that a weird thing here or there happens, and this game is sweaty until the end. And if the Chiefs are 3-4 after this weekend, we're going to have a terrible Monday. But that's my worry, is just that things within the realm of possibility, but things that we cannot predict on Friday, if those things happen, it would mean bad things for the Chiefs, because a normal game means a Chiefs win. We, of course, know about the Chiefs' relationship with normal games.
I think that my worry is kind of in the same vein as you, is that this game's close. My worry is that this game is close. I don't really necessarily think that. Now, that could be just the Raiders playing really good, right? And I could worry that Geno Smith is going to play really good. All of a sudden, he's going to be like, oh, yeah, I remember how I played in Seattle. I should do that more. Instead of throwing it to the other team, I should throw it to my team. He does really like to throw it to the other team. So my worry is that this game just somehow ends up close. I still trust the Chiefs to win it if it is a close game, but I just worry that this game is close and it kind of slows down the train a little bit. We don't want any of the steam coming out of the hype train for the Chiefs right now.
I think that's a good way of putting it, where if this is a close, late, narrow Chiefs win and you need a Harrison Butker walk-off or whatever, it's not going to be nearly as fun as the weeks after the Raiders and Lions games were, or Ravens and Lions games were, I should say. So I think that's a very, very good one. Man, at some point, I just need you to go ahead and review the Diet Coke Lime. We can do that in the back act of the show here, but the can is so good. You've been posting about it. You commenting about it earlier. I'm going to save it, but I have to know. Maybe we just need to have a soda review thing that mixes in here also, because I'm a connoisseur. I'm a sommelier of sugar-free sodas.
We love it.
My wish might be one that feels more like some of your wishes in recent weeks. Let's feed the Rashee Rice revolution, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Let's just get this thing going. I don't need 10 carries for 10. Well, you know what? Maybe so. I didn't mean 10 carries. I meant 10 catches. Maybe give him 10 carries
Maybe
too.
10 carries. Yeah.
I don't need 10 touches for 100 and some yards here, but I want the proof of concept. I want to see a couple plays that Seth Kaiser gets so geeked about that he writes an entire story about 3 plays where Xavier Worthy, Tyquan Thornton, Rashee Rice, and Travis Kelce are all on the field at the same time. Here's what it does to defenses. And the ball goes to Rice underneath. Okay, well, now here's a play where Hollywood Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster and Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice are all on the field together, and here's how it got to Rice. I really think that there is a chance that, maybe this is my overall Rashee Rice thing, I think there's a chance that Rashee Rice takes a very good offense to an overwhelming offense, whatever form that takes. And I don't need, look, we've talked about it. Everybody's got to eat. I don't care who eats when. It's gonna happen. If Rashee Rice goes out there and has 2 for 12 and Xavier Worthy has the best game of his career, or Tyquan Thornton has another big game, or Hollywood Brown has his best game as a Chief, that counts for me in the return of Rashee Rice circumstance. I just think that there are too many celestial bodies on the field. Remember how much we talked about the gravitational pull of Xavier Worthy early in the year? And then Tyquan Thornton begins to earn a little bit of that influence of here's the gravitational pull of Tyquan Thornton. Juju is not separating in the way that the speedy guys are. And Hollywood, I would tell you, you don't want him taking a lot of hits, but he's played some tough football these last few weeks. It's just, again, it's a good enough unit right now that we are demoting Jalen Royals to, like, the 50th most interesting player on the roster right now because they're just guys ahead of him who are ready for this. And again, Jalen Royals, Juju and Hollywood are on 1-year deals. Tyquan Thornton doesn't have an extension. I don't know what his actual deal ends up being. But like Jalen Royals is in the long-term future. This is not me dumping on him. It's just week 6 of his rookie season and he didn't play early on at all and he's barely played since. That's just red shirt territory for him, and I'm fine with that because there's enough in front of him on the depth chart to be really, really excited about. So that's my wish. Feed the Rashee Rice revolution. Maybe it's just using Rashee Rice to jumpstart how people look at this Chiefs offense. But I really want it to just keep dominating until people run out of excuses.
I love it. Tyquan Thornton is an unrestricted free agent. He's not a restricted free agent. I know there was some talk and conversation about how he was used on his first contract in New England. Yeah. He did play enough games for him to be an unrestricted free agent at the end of this futures contract. So I think we looked at one of the group chats I was in looked that up very early in the season. Probably earlier than we should have looked it up in the season, truthfully.
No, you should have been doing it in training camp.
You're like, well, actually, what is he next year? How can we get him in?
If Brett Veach was doing his damn job, that extension would have been done in St. Joe.
On the table, yeah. So my wish for this game, kind of in the same vein, I wish this game's not close. Yeah. I wish this game...
I'm sorry. I talked so long in the middle. I just want people to know Tucker's worry is that this game is close. Tucker's wish is that this game is not close. Go ahead.
Yeah. The Raiders are hide young ears. They're pretty ass. Like they're not a good football team. I believe on my ass tier, on the ass list, they are super mega ass.
Do you have the new one? Do you want to put the new one on the stream here? Or if not, that's fine. Don't sweat it. We can do it after the next break. We have a whole other break.
Oh yeah, I'll do it after the break. We can dive into the ass list after that because I do have the V3 of the ass list after Thursday Night Football because it is updated. I'm gonna update it after every single game. that's what we do.
As every game goes final,
we have to do that update. And maybe sometimes you're like, you know what? I was right on that. I'm not gonna update it. But this team features the top team in the ass list versus one of the bottom teams that is not the Jets in the ass list. So this game should not be close. It is the largest spread on DraftKings Sportsbook on the NFL tab this week. This is the game that Vegas expects the Chiefs to win by more than 11 points. So I think you should kind of go out there and take care of business. Yes, I understand it's a divisional game. Yes, I understand, Josh, as you mentioned, football happens. I think that's a great way to put it, especially in today's NFL. Today's NFL is crazy. It's at any given Sunday, Thursday, any day, I guess. I guess they're not playing on Wednesday this year because Christmas is on a Thursday. But it is one of those things where anything can happen. But I wish that this game is not close. They go out there, they take care of business. Geno throws the ball to the other team. The other team catches it, the other team being the Chiefs, and they make them take advantage of opportunities. They score touchdowns in the red zone. Everything looks good. Everything looks clean. Everything looks pretty. That's my wish.
On that note, Tucker, I'm looking right now at lines from a less reputable sports book than DraftKings. It's up on my screen right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if these will match with DraftKings current lines. Do you know how many NFL games this week there is a spread of more than one possession? Or I guess I should say more than 7 points?
It's like, is it only the Chiefs game?
It's the Chiefs and a game where I would be taking the points. Broncos minus 7.5 hosting the Giants.
Oh yeah, I would absolutely, not gambling advice, but I would absolutely take that.
I'm surprised that that's 7.5, but just again scrolling down here of unnamed sportsbook, just the margins of these games on the lines right now: 3.5, 4.5, 2.5, 6.5, 2.5, 1.5, 7.5, 1.5, 1.5, 6.5, 2.5.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Hold on. Monday Night Football, 5.5, 3.5. There, and a whole bunch of those have to be home favorites getting the inflation there. I don't know how the conventional wisdom on 3 points, 2.5 points, home field advantage works now. I think the 3 points thing is a little bit of a old frame of reference. But if Giants Broncos was at a neutral site, or certainly at MetLife in New Jersey, that would be well within a possession. That's just the league right now, and I think that's as it should be. Okay, I feel like we've done. We talked about Rashee Rice. We've talked about the Raiders. We're going to talk about a topic that Tucker and I realized we were sharing moments before the show began. I do want to talk about Pokemon ZA, which is out now. Tucker's got a soda review, and we're going to do it after we take this break, which will have a very special new treat for the video audience. I'll explain it afterwards for the listenership, but I think perhaps the best minute of this show is about to hit your video feed right now. All right, so if you were only listening and you didn't get to see what just happened, we're experimenting now with these sort of interludes to allow us to take our proper number of breaks, to not overload anything, to be able to check out the comments and everything. So what you just saw were some of my favorite recent clips from my backyard critter camera. There was a local possum and our backyard groundhog, who I think lives under that shed, or at least that's his main residence. I think we had a possum back around last night. There's another version of that. We're going to keep bringing the little critters into this show in the way that they deserve. Sourced directly from my, not a sponsor, Google Nest camera that only kind of sometimes gives me what I need. Well, every once in a while you get a hit like that. Yeah. And you just get to watch a little possum drink some water while we take our break in the meantime. So, Tucker, excellent work on that, as always. I have like 3 more additions from the last few days. It's a busy season right now on the Critter Cam.
I love it. Brett in the chat said, "Is there a name for viewers of this show yet? If not, can I suggest Possum Kingdom?"
I mean, we talked about we've done the Vibe Hunters thing, but I kind of like just Possum Kingdom. Most people probably I didn't know this until Kingdom Quarterback, the book that Rustin Dodd co-wrote. That led me down the rabbit trail, fittingly enough, of learning that there's at least the origin story that may or may not be apocryphal, that Kansas City was nearly called Possum Trot.
I did not know that.
It was, for a very long time, I had that in mind as a future show title, future branding thing. But that is so hard to explain concisely, or at least with this convoluted everything else. I can say, it's about the Kansas City Chiefs and everything else that I feel like talking about. Possum trout would have been harder to nail.
Yeah.
But we're going to keep possums in the mix. And I'm going to assume that this comment from Sean it might not be. I'm going to pretend this comment from Sean is about the possum interlude. More entertaining than the Broncos-Jets game. By a mile, man.
Yeah.
By a mile. I will watch our little critter cam loops as often as I possibly can.
It's pretty sick. I'm very, very happy with it. I did upload the ass list if you want to run through it real.
I forgot about the ass list. Yeah. Get us into the CRT here. Get us into some nonsense territory. Because for a long time, Tucker, I thought I was the only one with an ass list. But hashtag ass list, it's available now. Just go on Twitter. Go on Twitter and go ahead and search hashtag ass list.
Right, yes.
And you can find Tucker's rankings of current NFL teams. Yeah, let's see it.
Okay, here it is. There it is. This is the ass list. It's a tier list. If you're unfamiliar with it, the top category is badass. The second one is not ass. Third tier is kinda ass. The fourth tier is ass. And the fifth tier, super ass. Then it goes to mega ass, super mega ass, and then Jets. So the last tier is always going to be Jets. I don't care if the Jets get good. The last tier is always going to be Jets. And
the Jets don't have to be in the Jets tier.
Correct.
But the last tier will be Jets.
Correct. And there were some discussions of the Titans moving down to Jets tier, so it was Jets and Titans in the Jets tier. It's going to really depend on how they're showing us against the Patriots this week. But we did have some movement. What were they, 4-1 heading into this week, Josh?
I believe so, yeah.
5-1.
5-1.
They were 5.
No, sorry, 4-1 with a bye.
Okay, 4-1 with a bye. They were in the kind of ass, I think is what I put them in, because I was giving them the benefit of the doubt because of the record. If it was really up, I rounded, somebody in the comment section of my tweet last night said, you rounded up a cheek when you probably should have rounded down a cheek. And I said, yeah, that's probably very true. And because they were like, wow, that was a 2-tier loss for the Steelers, because they were in kind of ass and they dropped all the way to super ass after that one. But it was a very generous kind of, they were probably at the bottom of the barrel of kind of ass, right?
And now they're the top of super ass. Well, I don't know, the Vikings might be a better super ass.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe I should organize these like from left to right and how close they are to leaving there. Maybe that's probably the way to go.
I had 2 suggestions for you as the ass list begins to evolve this way.
Right.
Suggestion number 1 is that Joe Flacco just gets a headshot in the not ass category.
Right.
Even if it's just for a week and then you delete him or whatever. I just think he deserves that because that's the funniest thing I've seen an old man do.
It's so crazy.
Since I finally watched The Naked Gun. And I think that you could at least, like, if you do left to right, you could slide the Bengals up to the left side of super mega ass because I think they deserve some movement, but they don't get to, like, I think they are still super mega ass. So,
I think so too, yeah.
Man, do
that
these
probably
do we get demonetized on these? How does this work? You and Verderam say way crazier stuff than the ass list.
No, that's true. And Verderam and I spend a lot of time talking about the ass list.
Beards McFly just commented, Nake's fun, which I assume was him trying to say naked gun.
It was, yeah.
But then my next brain jump is just Beards commented naked fun, which does kind of bring us back to the ass list.
It does bring us back to the ass list. I think I will do that. I will tweet out an updated version again of the ass list with the teams from left to right. As like you're about to, if you're on the left, you are about to leave. You're at the top of that tier.
Tucker, I know you like legally speak. You are the producer of this show. I think. Can I do a little producing for you?
Sure,
and help
absolutely.
You in 2 ways.
Yeah.
Two ways I'd like to help you.
Okay.
I am going to take away one thing that you have to do today, and I'm going to give you free content for Tuesday's stream.
Okay.
Just do that on stream instead of doing it right now.
Oh, that's a good thing.
It's a new hook for Tuesday's live stream.
No,
KCSN Live starts at noon to 1, same time, same channel, KCSN YouTube channel.
Yep. No, it's great.
Can you get some feedback of, okay, how are we going to split the difference here between the Dolphins and the Titans and the Bengals moving up and all of that? So,
yeah.
One of my best traits as a producer, I think, is trying to figure out how to do less work but make more content.
Oh yeah.
So that's free for you. And you know what? You know what, Tucker? On that note, I need to talk about Pokemon ZA. It's out, baby. Pokemon Legends ZA. It is the sequel to Pokemon Legends Arceus, or perhaps Arceus. The battles of how to pronounce Pokemon is never one that I've won. It is the sort of more, calling it open world is not fair. It is the exploratory, different formula Pokemon game where you're able to walk around in Legends Arceus. You could walk around this pretty big open-ish world and just throw Pokeballs at Pokemon in the wild, and you have a chance to catch them without ever having to actually battle them. Pokemon Legends ZA, I'm playing it on the Switch 2, and Renee just started it on the Switch 1 Lite. So we are on like two different ends of the technological capability spectrum there, and it seems like things are pretty good for Renee on the Switch Lite, so we'll see. But Alec in the chat said Best Buy delayed the delivery until Monday. That's horrible. I was going to say that I can't recommend Best Buy as a digital pre-order even. I'm getting a free gaming mat, which is basically going to be a big mouse pad, which is great for me. I need that. But even their digital delivery was like an hour and 20 minutes after I could have had it on Switch. It was like almost 12:30 in the morning on Thursday when it was available across America at 11 p.m. Central Time, midnight East Coast. So it's a really rough go for Best Buy on this front. But we're going to talk about this game more as I play it more. I've been very pleased so far. I have not read almost anything about anybody else's experiences. I am giving you my knee-jerk opinion before I have been indoctrinated by anybody else. It's been very fun. I think the world, it's basically set in Pokemon Paris, which has also made it even more exciting for Renee to play. And the world feels pretty good. I have discovered already mountains of fashion, which is what I do play Pokemon games for by and large.
Yeah.
That's not what I play them for, but I do love it when it's there, and I hate it when it's not. And there have been, Pokemon's had a couple of strikes recently. Games I've played a lot of, but that I've had some serious notes about. This does feel like a game that actually, so far, that actually got the production time that it needed. And there are already leaks about Gen 10 out there right now and all of that. No, Alec, this is not spoiler territory. The only like gameplay thing that I'll mention is that battling is completely different.
Whoa.
It is not a turn-based combat game in the way that every mainline Pokemon game is in the battle. They have turned it into more of a like real-time hit the button for the move you want to do. Moves have cooldowns now instead of having a number of uses. So it's the first Pokemon game in like 15 where if you haven't played a Pokemon game before, you might like actually be a little bit confused at sometimes. Or if you have played a lot of Pokemon games, you're going to be surprised by the fact that there are new mechanics in there. But overall, I've enjoyed it very, very much. And I'm still a little bit salty about having two starters from the same original generation. There should have been a Piplup game. I have gone Totodile, now a Croconaw, so I'm rolling that way. But I've enjoyed it a lot. I will probably have more that might maybe get spoilery or maybe more into the gameplay later on. But honestly, my biggest problem right now is that I'm doing this show instead of playing it. So I will be doing that very shortly hereafter.
I did a couple of questions from the gallery here.
Yes.
I saw something about the art style, like the Pokemon look different than what they usually do. Is that true? Was that different? Is that something that changed?
It depends, I suppose. I don't think I would say that it's like drastically different. I think what I've been playing it on the Switch 2 on the TV docked, so everything has looked quite good. I think graphically they have advanced beyond many of the issues they had with Scarlet Violet in particular.
Gotcha. Okay, because I knew there were some Pokemon that look different than the cards, and that's because there's like technically four companies that have to do with Pokemon, with like Pokemon, Nintendo, Game Freak, and then there's one that like does like the cards and everything.
Yeah, I'm actually curious what you specifically saw there, because I'm sure that seems very, very reasonable. I don't know what specifically.
I'll find the I believe the YouTube short was from New York Times.
Interesting.
Not YouTube short, but
I've also avoided leaks and spoilers, and so if there's stuff that's literally more than 4 or 5 hours into the game, then I haven't seen it yet. This is a very limited feedback from you. Right
Second question from me. You call it Pokemon Legends ZA. But
Yes.
I've also heard it be called Pokemon Z2A.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Yes. I'm now, you have asked 2 follow-up questions, and I am now out of my depth. It is hyphenated.
Right.
And the mechanic in the game is that you're trying to rise the ranks through the, I think, ZA League, where you go from Z to A. I'm like, oh, that's it, right? Well, that also has an inference to the legendary Pokemon that is presumably in this game. And then I've also learned recently, oh man, there was just another game that I was just looking at that did this. But there's the I think it's an anime Hunter x Hunter, but it's actually just pronounced Hunter Hunter. Like in Japanese, a lot of times the X 100X Resist was a video game that I haven't played, but I think it's just 100 Resist.
Yeah.
There was just I was just looking at a newsletter here a second ago about one of these, and now I can't find. So I don't know. I have just I think Nintendo's been calling it just ZA in the like directs and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, Z-A if you're looking it up. Dude, I'm not sure how to pronounce Arceus, and I've been playing that game off and on now for many years. So yeah, if somebody in the chat is more confident than me, if Alec has not plugged his ears out of fear of spoilers, I'll take a more detailed explanation of ZA if possible. But I believe that's how it's going. Any other questions from the gallery that I won't have answers for, but I can try?
No, I don't think so. Those are the 2 things that I came across. I did just find the New York Times article, and I think there's an accompanied video that I will send you after this gets done. But I did find it, and I thought it was interesting. Nothing that was bad. I just thought it was interesting that there's like 4 companies that basically have to do with Pokemon, and there's trying to get 4 companies to agree on one thing is insane.
It also ends up being one of the things that can be kind of frustrating, where it's like, hey, so this has an argument as the biggest the biggest IP in the world.
Yeah.
Can we like get the games to look good or play better than these last few did? And again, I think right now it does not look or feel like PS5 game. I've played a little bit of Cyberpunk. You would not confuse the two, but I think that they have at least kind of figured out their style on this one, and it seems like they're executing it well. Again, I was just happy to have a bunch of stores I could walk through and shop for different cardigans in Pokemon, because that's what I would do in real life if I had Pokemon money. So
Pokemon money would be sick. You can get it so easy.
That's that. Also, real quick, we both have our wisdom teeth and need to do something about that, and we were both playing through pain. We are both dealing with some sort of toothaches right now. I've been flossing back there really hard the last couple days, not the dance, with like dental floss. Actually, little floss picks.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is just like asking people to give us their like recommendations for dental insurance or what, but the 2 of us combined have 8 wisdom teeth, and that's gotta be weird, right?
Yeah, that is definitely weird. It can't be common. So what I'm dealing with right now is that, so every now and again, Josh, I don't know if you deal with this. It's like my gums around my wisdom teeth will hurt, like in between, like so every now and again I'll get like, wow, I cannot chew on that side of my mouth this week. And then like I'll throw on some, I got Orajel right here already ready to go. Wow. And the amount of time, I think I talked so much on, what was the day that the Chiefs played the football game? Sunday? Yeah, Sunday into Monday, I talked so much that my mouth hurt and like my wisdom teeth hurt, like the gums around there.
Yep.
And I've been like, I've got like cuts on like my cheek back there. I don't know if this ever happens. If you like feel back there, it's like on my cheek. It's like I've bitten my cheek so much I've opened it up. But Orajel
do you grind your teeth at night? Have you heard that?
Maybe I do. I don't think that I don't. It's never been something that's been talked about. That's been brought up, and maybe that's kind of what it is. But I load up with Orajel before I go to bed too, just like make my whole mouth numb, and then I go to sleep. But no, Orajel's been clutch. But yeah, I just don't. I need to get my wisdom teeth out, but I don't in fear of the cost.
Yeah, and there's also whenever you do talk on a daily basis for the money you make.
Correct.
You're like,
yes.
okay, so I have to press pause on the moneymaker here. Try to figure out what day of the week can I coordinate this with the Chiefs bye week.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that is tough. I would say look at the mouth guard situation. This is also very cool, very sexy of me. But just a few days ago, I was up there. It was like high school all over again, dog. I was boiling water, dropping a mouthpiece in there, bringing it out, cooling it, getting it up on the gums, sucking through, how to form this around.
Yep.
And I have not had one of those actually last for very long. But that's the next thing for me to try. Is like, all right, let me just try to keep my teeth from banging into each other overnight, because I guess I'm so stressed that I'm also stressed in my dreams, I guess. Thank you for that one, brain.
You ever wake up and your like jaw hurts? And you're
Yes,
like,
all the time.
I must have just
almost
been
every
clenching
day.
my jaw the whole time I was sleeping. Yeah.
Yes. Like I would say as often as not. I do. I wake up
Yeah.
exactly that way. All right. Well, here's one little bit of news on the way out. Andy Reid's presser's happening, or did happen. It said Matt Derrick's phrasing here is Andy Reid says Chiefs left tackle Josh Simmons remains excused due to a family/personal matter. So that's the word from Andy Reid. It looks like Rashee Rice is talking also. Could he have talked on? I got so much done yesterday, man. I was like, well, they might not have Rashee Rice talk till postgame. Apparently, he's talking today also. So hope everybody has a wonderful remainder of your Friday. Enjoy maybe a chill Saturday. I don't know. Tucker, what's Mizzou got on Saturday? Are you guys okay?
Auburn.
Again?
Yeah, I think we're fine. We got Auburn. Auburn's kind of going through some stuff. They just dismissed their running back. They lost to Georgia, 10 points at home. They've been hosed by the officials every game this season, like so bad that the SEC's been like, "Hey, that was a bad call." They've had to do like the statement. It seems like every Auburn game that they have to be like, "Yeah, we really messed that one up, guys. We're sorry. We're so sorry."
Seamus, quick. Lime Coke rating Tucker. Thank you, Seamus.
Oh yeah, lime Coke. It's good. I think it would be, if you're into this type of thing, it would be a phenomenal mixer, because if you already add the lime into your Coke, it is very good. The lime is a very subtle lime, and I think that's what you want with lime, right? You don't want it to be overpowering. You still get the Diet Coke flavor that you all love. The can design is phenomenal, and it is beautiful, and they should have never gone away from this Diet Coke logo. I think this Diet Coke logo is the best. It's got little green lines on it too, little green swirlies. The lime's cool. It's a cool looking lime on it, and it tastes good. You get a nice little lime hint,
sniff,
little citrusy as well. I enjoy it. It's a nice little change up. If you if you're a big Diet Coke person, you would just be drinking Diet Cokes all the time, and it's a nice little change up into the regimen. But I do think, they do need a Coke Zero lime would be phenomenal. But yes, I got it at Hy-Vee. Hy-Vee is where I got this. I found it on like one of the the display pallets, that they have those like in the middle of, not necessarily aisles, but they have those like, hey, you want to check, you got to check this out.
Okay.
But it is a limited time, so go get it. It is very good. Not being paid or sponsored by Coca-Cola, that'd be really cool if I was, though.
You did this for Mountain Dew once, and they stepped in, so...
That's true.
Hey,
Diet
Coca-Cola.
Coke.
I'm a big Coke Zero guy. I'll definitely try the Diet Coke Lime.
It's
I
very
won't drink
good.
any of the full sugar ones personally, but that's because of my diabetes, not because your drink isn't delicious. If you send me regular Coke, I'll give it to Renee or Beards McFly with no
He
ice.
likes it. No ice. None of it.
No ice. Never ice for Beards. All right, that's officially it. We've done it. We've done an hour and change, as this show is destined to do. Have a good weekend, everybody. Enjoy a noon kickoff. We'll be back on Monday. Till then, bye, Mom. I really should go to a dentist or something.
Yeah.
It's been better today.
I need to
little
look
sore.
I need to look at my dental coverage. I don't even know what they cover,
It's tough. It's so confusing, man. Dental insurance. Health insurance, that's for your body. Oh, that's weird. Where are my teeth? In my mouth, which is a part of my face, which is a part of my head, which is a part of my body?
Yeah.
Different insurance.
Right. Do you guys remember when the American Dental Association tried not to get dental coverage in Obamacare?
I don't, but it sounds very plausible to me.
That did happen.
At least we have bones sticking out of our mouths, and we use it to
They
chew
are
food.
bones. Yeah.
Crazy.
I don't know.
You ever see the Dwayne Johnson movie, The Tooth Fairy?
Yes. I have seen that movie.
What a film.
Yeah. You remember that Dwayne Johnson movie, The Game Plan?
I almost talked about the game plan on the radio yesterday. I stopped myself because I didn't want to get made fun of for it. Cinnamon. I'm allergic to cinnamon.
Yeah. Great film.
Great film. All right, we'll talk to you on Monday.
Yeah, see ya.